Hi all. So welcome again to the another class. This is day 6 wonderful autumn and I'm so thrilled and happy that so many of you are joining me. Can't wait to get started with this one. This is very similar to the previous one that we did. There's few couple of differences where this one is more on the brighter side and I wanted to keep the last one as on the gloomy side. So this is more brighter. So let's see how to do this one. Come join me. Let's start. Okay, so similar to every painting that we have done so far, so the starting point is by wetting the paper, and I think now you all have understood how to go about it. A couple of things as I've been telling you guys on a repeat mode, that you just have to make sure that your paper is completely wet and it doesn't have puddles of water. So you see that shine that is coming, right? I'm just showing you the difference. Once you put the water, a shine comes, and where I can differentiate where my water is not there, right? Yeah, so we just want to make sure that we wet our paper very nicely. Go through your brush up and down, left to right, couple of times to ensure that the water is completely soaked into your paper and there are no puddles or no area which is left dry, because this is again gonna be a wet on wet technique, right? I love this technique. It's just the most used when I think on the watercolor side, and it just lifts your color to a different level. You This is something to enjoy with, right? So you basically feel, you can feel that, right? So your colors do play together when come in contact with the water, so such a nice feeling. So we'll start by painting the sky first, and then we'll cover some trees, okay, at the background. So I'm gonna start with ultramarine blue. If you don't have this one, you can use the blue or indigo, or maybe either go with bright blue. The color of the sky would be a little bit different, but I think that's okay, right? Yeah, it can be anything of your choice as well. So yeah, so let's do that. So just follow the strokes, because the strokes is what defines your sky. So we're gonna do it in a little slanting motion, the stroke that I did, right? Exactly. So you're gonna follow that and make a sky. Now when you're putting the color, you always have to remember that the tone that you're using for your sky, remember that you want a certain tone for your painting, right? But when watercolor dry, they dry a one level lighter in shade, right? So you put more pigment rather than more water on your brush if you want to make a little dark sky. But in the end, even if you see the right hand portion might be looking too darker, but when it dries up, it's gonna just tone down, it will become lighter, right? So yeah, so that would be our sky. So once you're satisfied with your sky, and I'm gonna tell you that the main focus of this painting is not actually the sky, but it's the forest around it, right? At the bottom, the forest that we're gonna paint, the autumn forest, it's gonna be the main point of this particular painting. So once you're happy with your sky, let's start by putting some green light or yellow green on the bottom of the paper, and you can just cover the whole paper with the same color, because that's gonna be the base color of our painting, right? So let's paint the whole paper, the bottom paper, with that color, and then we'll start by adding same thing as we were doing. So these are, remember, these are all practice, right? So if you're not listen to my first few lessons, then I really recommend you to start from that, because we are coming from very basic, and then we are gonna get little tougher subjects at the end of this particular class, right? So yeah, so let's start by filling the whole paper with the light green color. Once you have covered this whole paper with this color, then you can think about putting some combos, yellow, lemon yellow, gold, orange, or scarlet on to it to make those trees, right? And as always, we are gonna again be working on layers. So now I'm trying to, I think I'll cover this yellow, gumbosh yellow on this side, mix with a little bit of Indian yellow, And once I'm satisfied with this, I'm gonna head over to a next area, maybe mix little bit of more green shade and do green somewhere, right? So we're gonna do a very base. So remember, this is the base, this is not, this is just the foundation of what we wanted to achieve, right? So I have done some lemon yellow, some gombosh, some Indian yellow, gombosh mixed with Indian yellow, right? And then painting on the paper. We're also gonna give a hint of pine trees over there, so the same shape that we were doing, but very lightly. See, we don't want to define it yet. It's all in the background, so we're gonna give it a feeling that it's all in the background. Okay, so keep following the strokes that I'm doing. Okay, so now I think yellows are done. Let's go ahead with some scarlets or oranges, right? So let's start with some oranges first. I have mixed my scarlet with yellow, and that's what it forms, yellow color, right? So on the top of the area, because there was a blue already at the bottom of the page, it's gone a little bit brownish, because now you see, right, the all primary colors mixed together, they form a brown shade, and then it's mixed with a different quantity. They're gonna go more darker on that, right? So just remember all these things. So color mixing is very important. You should learn the basics of color mixing. I'll try if I can record one class on all the basics of watercolor. But yeah, so refer to the technique session lessons again if you want to understand what kind of colors I'll be using in this class. So I've explained very detailed, and on the previous class it's also talked about how we go from start to end in terms of painting autumn. So the feel is similar, it's just that we are learning to paint different subjects, different ways of landscape, different types of landscape with the same method, right? Yeah, so let's keep going. We do, and I think that was taking time, so this was another way that I wanted to show you that if you want to make put some colors, now in this particular case it is good to splatter, because this is all background that we are looking for, where it should be a mix of orange plus yellow plus something else. I was actually not looking to define something, so I have defined one tree already. So there are two ways to splatter. Now you can see using your finger also, you just dab, touch your finger and move your brush. That's also you can splatter, or you can just use your brush and tap the brush tip and you can splatter, right? So that's the splattering technique, and I gotta tell you that I love that splattering. It actually makes your table and everything dirty, but that's okay, I think. Okay, so then I'm just giving some reference or hint that those are trees, but again, this is all gonna be at the background, right? So the one tree that you're looking that we have defined will pop out, but the others will all be in the background. Now, once you're done with putting this color, let's go one shade darker. Maybe pick some burnt sienna or mix some browns with your reds, and define some areas here and there, just to put some darker covers as the shadow of already. So we made something already, right? So now these colors, the darker shade that we put here, will define or act as a shadow to the one that are already added. I hope you guys are having fun in the class. It's very important to enjoy. At any given point, if you think that you're not getting anything, feel free to ask me in the discussions forum. And please do share your class projects so that I can give you feedback on the work that you're doing. Right. So this is some green, light green. We are gonna do, so as I said, right, I wanted a mix of colors in this one, so we are gonna do some greens over here at the right hand side. Okay, and then we're gonna do some tree branches on the left hand side, and we'll just plain bare trees without any leaves or something, right? So that's the idea of this painting. Let's see how it goes. I really don't know how it's gonna turn out, but yeah, let's try. Also give hint of green here and there, right, on the whole painting, because this should just not look like one whole color. We're gonna just do a mix of green, red, brown, orange, yellow. So even if you see the leaves that are kept on my table, right, if you see their color, they are also mix of all the color. They're not made of two colors only, right? Okay. See how bright and beautiful this is looking, right? This is so beautiful. Now, similar to what we have done, remember this is all going to go in the background. So whatever we have done till now is just to create the base, right? So this is what I want all of you to understand, that watercolor paintings we are doing wet on wet, but we are doing on layers, and it's all about what you want to achieve. So when you take a reference image, right, just I will encourage each and every one of you to take a reference image and then sit with that reference image for some time, and then study and then think about it ki, okay, if I have to do this, then how I'm gonna go about it. Would you paint a background first? Would you paint a main subject first? Or how would you go about it, right? It's just very important to understand your reference image and then decide your way forward. So what, out of all those 10 elements, which one is that you're gonna paint first, which is the one that you're gonna paint next, and so on, right? Okay, so now the all the background one is already done, but I think during the mixing it just got a little bit of merged into blend into another one. So let's I have bought one more tree in the foreground now, and then let's paint, make some clarity right over it. So we made a little bit of mud or ground space, right, some lifted ground or stone kind of space, and then we'll paint some trees on the left hand side, bare trees with no branches. Basically that's gonna just lift the whole thing up. So I think left hand side I am gonna do two parallel lines on the parallel side, slanted parallel lines, and they will become our trees, tree branches, which are directly visible to us, which are very near to us. That's why they are darker in shape. Okay, but then remember these are bare tree branches, will not have much leaves, but I think I'm gonna paint few leaves around them, but not lot, right? And let's add some branches to those trees and define the other areas as well. So on the left right hand side also, the green tea that we're gonna make, right? So as of now it's all on the background wash of the tree, so that it just looks little heavier. Also it looks dense, right? This way it looks dense. When you do layer, your painting looks a little dense, and that is what gives your painting depth. Okay, so I want to speed up the process. I did not want it to wait, and I want to show you guys as well that this is how you can do it, right? So you can use your hair dryer to dry your paintings. So I think my painting is dry what I wanted, so I have mixed my yellow with green and made it super light. And now going over those branches, that we zigzag branches that we defined on the right hand side corner, right? So I'm gonna just take my green and go on top of it to cover all the green colors. Also add some light yellow in it so that the colors pop out, otherwise it just doesn't look good, right? So once you try a shade of color and you think it's already there, it's just not going up, the details will not be visible, just try to use one shade darker, right? So you were, as you can see that I was trying to go ahead with the mix of orange that I made, but then I realized that it will not be visible, so I just went with other darker shade over here. Okay, so nothing, so I know that watercolors are very it's not a forgiving medium. But I think there are ways to tackle it. So if you plan your painting way ahead, and if you know, right, how to correct something which has gone wrong, you will fall in love with watercolors. It's one medium that has its freedom of its own, right? So yeah, so let's define some trees now, and I don't want to do it like too much, overdo it, but then we'll define some trees. And now let's paint branches of those trees. Again, it's per your wish. Need not copy me. If you want your branch to go up, then you take your branch to go up. It's up to you. Okay, it's just how you want to make it. Just have fun with it, just play from your imagination, that okay, let's try this way and how it turns out. Don't be afraid of trying. I'm gonna tell you the fact that while I was doing that, I have learned so much. For every painting, I think I tried those painting at least 2 times to make sure that I'm not doing something right, because the first time I was doing, I was just trying them out. When second time I did, I was like, oh, I should have done this way. Okay, so even if you fail at the first attempt, I just don't want you to feel very bad about it. It's all about practice. The more you practice, the more your hand eye coordination, your mind coordination will set, and then you will know what you need to do next. You will look at the reference image and you'll be like, oh yeah, this is I have to do. I have to go from main to background, or I go from background to main, or whatever you want to do. So you will be able to decide, right? So yeah, let's do the other tree now. Put some branches on the other tree, and then let's paint some colors on them. See how much of a difference, right? So once we made this tree, now you can see that everything that we painted earlier to this has gone at the background, and I'm so in love with that, right? Now you can clearly see that everything that we painted has become a background now, because the focus is now on this tree that we wanted to give, and that is what we wanted to achieve, right? Superb, yeah, superb. I think I love this. What about you guys? Do you love this one? Yeah, now let's do some detailing. Okay, so let's see how we want to do it. So I'll be taking few colors and putting over the leaves. So they are, I said, bare trees, but yes, they'll not be completely bare. They'll still have few leaves in them. Because I think if you don't do it, they doesn't come properly in the foreground, and that whole concept of this one would be lost. So I think it's necessary to give them some depth, right? The background also some depth, and then some image of their own, some significance of these trees which are actually in the foreground. Apparently they are acting as our main subjects, right? Because if you see, we have made them at the cross section, 1/3, right? So remember the concept of 1/3. 1/3 is what you make, basically parallel lines, two parallel lines, so 3 columns on your paper, and then similarly at the horizontal, the intersection of those parallel lines becomes your center of attraction. Okay, that's your eye view. So whenever so you will hear a lot of artists talk about this composition, and I think it's good. That's how people decide what they want to place where, right? So this is very good. Okay, so as you can see, I just did some oranges and some yellows on top of it to define it, and then just detailing out the other areas of the paper as well. Okay. And you'll see me, right? So I'm correcting also. So whatever I don't like in my painting, I just go ahead and correct it. So for example, that area that we painted brown, I felt like it was just not looking so good, so I just went over and added some yellows on top of it. So now once my yellow is added, it's very opaque in nature. That looks subtle. It's now feeling like autumn to me while I look at it, right? Oh my god, see, this is turning out so beautiful. I just can't wait to see your class project, guys. I just can't wait to see your class projects. It would be so interesting to see so many takes on it. And even if I make the second time, I bet you I can't make it very similar to what I have made because it changes, right? Uh, Watercolor has its own nature. So it behaves according to what it wants. You can't, sometimes you can control it, most of the times you can't. And the best thing to learn watercolor would be to just let it play, I think. Yeah. Okay, so now detailing on the tree, because the bare tree was not looking very good, so I thought, okay, let's add more oranges to it, and I think it just made some difference. Can you see the difference, guys? And also, every time I'm taking a color, I'm just dipping my brush in water, cleaning it, and then again taking on the fresh color, right? So that's why we have two jars of water, which is one clean water and the other one is dirty. So whenever I have to wash my brush, I use the other one. Clean one is for lifting colors or wetting your paper. Birds are optional here. If you would like to go ahead and add birds, you can do it. But if you don't want to add, it's just up to you. Just detail out, and once you're happy with the detail, I think we can stop at that point. Congratulations to you all. So we have completed day 6 of autumn watercolors, and I just love it. See how vibrant it is, right? Wow, this is looking amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for the support, and thank you for joining me in my class. See you in the next class project.